Caroline, too, I'm sure. This is really exciting. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Susan Lerner. I'm the host of the Vital Longevity Raw Food Meetup Group. This doesn't look like raw food, no, but there's a story. And Caroline and I host these potlucks in our home. And we usually have a raw food potluck here on the third Sunday of every month, and we will next Sunday for those of you who are interested in coming. And it'll be many, many times more people and lots of amazing food. But today, every now and then I'd like to host a special event. And so today's special event is an amazing woman who came to us through the potluck. How did you find the group?
On meetup.com.
On meetup.com. You're looking for raw food?
When I moved here, I didn't know anybody, I had no family, and I've never been here. So I went to meetup.com and just to see what was going on around here. And this is actually the only meetup group I've ever been to with raw food.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the one.
It's the vital...
It was the only one I needed.
Vital longevity. And so when Annamai got here, and I think on your the first potluck that you came to, I think you left a little early. And on the second one or the third one, we held court, like, until 9 o'clock at night or something like that. So it's really been a thrill to meet her and to find out the wisdom that's stored in her and through her. So how we're going to do, well, you can explain what you're going to do, and she'll tell her own story. But we will have a break, right?
Yes.
We're going to have a break. The bathrooms, for those of you who can't wait to the break, are down that hall, straight back to the back of the house, the door on the right. And we're drinking Kangen water. I can tell you more about that, and tell you more about that at the break. And let's have a fabulous time. Can I ring a bell?
Yes, please do.
And we can start.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming. I feel really blessed to move to a place where, like I said, I didn't know anybody, I didn't really have any friends. You know, for the last 3 years, it's really just been me and God down here working this whole thing out. And I've had a lot of clients over the years, so for me to be sitting in this room right now with 20 people who cared about what was posted on Meetup, for yourself, for your family, for whoever it is, I really couldn't begin to explain to you how grateful I am that you showed up to hear me speak at all. I work as an oracle, and my name is Annamai, and that is not my birth name, but after several years of meditating to just get clarity and grounded, to get ready to do what I was going to do in the world, I used to hear Annamai, Annamai, Annamai. And at first I thought, this is kind of bizarre, I don't really know what's going on here. And I finally had the intuition to say, well, what's that? And I heard, that's your name. And I thought, well, I thought my name was Nicole. And it took many more months, and I just kind of waited, because there was no translation for it. It didn't come from any language, and it wasn't immediately given me what it meant. And I heard months later, meditating, the delivered one. And that's what Annamai means. It means the delivered one. And some of you have been to my website or my YouTube videos, and you do indeed know that I experienced something in this life that I had to be delivered from. When I was 25, during a routine chiropractic adjustment, the artery on my brainstem was severed. And when the brainstem was severed, I had a massive brainstem stroke right on the chiropractic table. It only took a minute for it to set in. So I eventually lost all neuromuscular skeletal control, fell on the floor, fell off the table onto the floor, and realized that I was dying. That was it. I mean, I've been on this earth for 25 years, and it was going to be over. Just like that. And I had no fear, and it was just a very clear realization. At that point, I left my body and began entering other realms outside of what we typically know, and asked to be returned to the earth. And when I asked for that, that's when I was guided back down into my body. But when the paramedics came, I eventually lost all consciousness and fell into a coma. And when I was taken to the hospital, I was in that coma for 4 days, and when I came out of the coma, I had a condition called locked-in syndrome, which is where you are completely paralyzed, you can't breathe, you can't eat, you can't speak, move, anything. All you can do is blink your eyes. That's it. And you're locked inside your body. So I'd say that's something that you realize, if you're not going to die, you can't live as a quadriplegic. You can't speak, talk, or eat. It's not an option. So that means you have to be delivered from that condition and that state that you're in right now. And it's certainly going to take more than anything you ever knew that you had, and more than your family knows that they have. It's going to take you realizing that the only way to get out of this is to get into the feet of God. And I did everything that I could and everything that I was led to, and I have a recovery that is basically medically unprecedented. And the way you explain a miracle is that it's far beyond anything that you yourself can understand and relate to. So I can claim that name for sure. And having been delivered once doesn't mean you don't need to be delivered twice or 3 or 4 times, because life is kind of an ongoing stage in deliverance. So at about the 5-year mark, I rehabilitated enough that I was able to go and teach college, freshman English and some social sciences. And when I started teaching in a class, something very bizarre happened. And that was that I would know what students were going to write about before they'd write their papers. I would see people, like for instance, there was a former high school football player who used to sit in the front row, like right where she would be right there. His knee would just radiate red. It was like I could see it. It was very distracting. And no visible limp, anything like that. And the kid turns in a paper 2 weeks later that in high school he destroyed his knee and collapsed his life, and his scholarships were out the door, and it changed everything, and he's never gotten over it. And so you would get coincidences like that happening every week. Now this was not something I really wanted in my life, you know. I mean, psychics don't really have that great of a reputation. People always wonder, do they have the gift? Don't they have the gift? What's going on there? Believe me, that's not what I wanted to do. But I followed guidance. And after 2.5 years, I quit teaching college and started reading for people. And it was the natural, most easy thing I had ever done in my whole life. And at this point, 5 years later, I've probably given 1,000 readings to all different types of people, all walks of life. So a lot of what I have to say today is based on what continually was evolving during those sessions. So for instance, when I talk about the evolution of the brain, which is something that I'm going to cover in the second segment, I literally would see my clients' brains changing and growing. And then I'd see the next person I read for, and I realized this is a continuous kind of evolutionary shift. Something big is going on here. Now, you're not worth your salt as an oracle unless you have a very good track record. Like your track record has to be pristine, which means you can never get in your way, but you've got to be right consecutively over and over and over again. I'll just say some of the things that have come my way. I saw Hurricane Katrina by name 5 months before it made landfall in New Orleans during a little 15-minute reading that I gave for a woman. And actually, when the storm happened, I completely forgot about the reading. And it was about 3 months later when I was watching TV and thought, oh my God, I saw that hurricane, that name, headed right in that trajectory before it was